a prognosis when you have cancerous tissue can never be exact or definitive, but certainly I'm getting all the help I require, and I will confront this, and I'm determined to confront it.
Nuair a bhása Brian Lenihan níos luaithe im léana gan é ghabhlaíonn le cushin lechéad, chunachas fíoracht brón agus léan. Ní amháin ó phobal a gháil cheantar hain blá clí hir, ach a meas daoine ó Cloch le Carn gan tír agus níos fuide i géin.
There was nobody like him. He's a proper gentleman.
I think he symbolised the best of what Irish politics should be.
And you drochgaler of a hair, fós vi shannon of a griul, agus martian vi anvas aganger.
He was brought up in Athlone until he was 12 years of age. He was always very proud of being an Athlone person, and he never forgot his roots.
Is Somalia á luan a bhíochad préimecha ag Brian Lenihan agus míonach Fianna Fáil go smir a bhí sa chláán. Bhí síl fada ag Ahern Brian sa pholaíocht agus bhí sé ina ar réaltais ag trí hísigh.
What is the real political party in Ireland? It is the Fianna Fáil party.
Gneamh chutianta tá Seanna Brian, Paddy Lenihan chun na Dála, I ní Ahern Brian.
Sick of being called, this is Brian Lenihan's father.
Agus níos dearnaí tá a Antín Mary O'Rourke freisin de Fianna Fáil.
The little sister comes into her own.
Bhí an cháil ar chláán Lenihan as an íonseach gan 40, ach bhí tréimhse Brian Snr sa pholaíocht thar bheith corrach scaití, cháil sé héachan ar os cumán léitrum agus éana ara, sular bhag an clán go léir go blá clia. In 1989 agus ag tepir Brian Snr, hábháil tras Flandú costasach America a héal. An bhléon dar gian chuirich an tosa mar iarthirí Fianna Fáil den táchan uachtaránachta a chud san tún as a bheachtas, dúir tapanna, mar chuimhne agus gléichan na goháin chuig an áras.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got through to him, I remember talking to him.
Thug de lú char leis chathaí an bothar dó, a chur bach le hain deis críoch échtach a bheile na héal polítíochta. Héis bás Ahern damnig Fianna Fáil Brian O chun dul nomiíochta héachan sa bhatháchan im lá lí hir in 1996.
If I could be half as good as he was, I'd be doing a good job.
Ní a bua I bhatháchan ag abortí an 1984, agus ní a ein chinsacht go múdís an cean seo.
We took it very seriously. We canvassed and canvassed. I always said afterwards, though, it was Brian Snr won that election, even though he had passed away, because, of course, people knew the name Brian Lenihan. In the beginning, it didn't look as if he would make it, because Joe Higgins had done very well. And then, as people went out of the race, the preferences began to come Brian's way with great force. And before the end of that evening, by 6 o'clock, he had won the seat.
Tág mise blian na gig sem agus bhíoh ifigí óságóir in san Dáil le chéile. So na bhuailmar le chéile go minic agus a caint le chéile agus a le chéile. Ach an son anam níoch mise mar ar a seoisiúach agus is ó raibh sé sin asúla rud ag an am sin freisin. Ach níor hála sé dó an tam sin.
I always said to him and suspected myself that once he got into cabinet, in a very short period of time, he'd be a leading cabinet minister and be speculated about as potential future leader.
Bhín cháil ar a gcónaí gur duine éirmúla bhí an, gus bughine bhí lóitse go réalta le corchan cíní na fáil, duine gon ré nó duine a bheith mar ara Snr sá a bhád, and is mar is óldún níor hála sé sin cho scripúis bhí daoine sú leis Brian Lenihan hain san áibh. Cuirtar go leor locht Bertie Ahern mar sin, ná ceapú Brian Lenihan mar ara Snr ag bard an réaltais go dtí 2007 éimhlíonn déag héis gur táhaigh an chéadúr.
Well, he wasn't learning his trade, and I think that's the way he would have looked at it.
I am most anxious to ensure that the Commission, as well as myself, can certify to the Irish people that the Firm's recommendations have been implemented in full in every diocese.
No, he never betrayed any regrets for that or any angst about it in any way. He just was very glad to get any job that came his way, and he loved being a representative TD for the constituency of Dublin West.
He was, frankly, frustrated at the lack of opportunity to apply in ministerial office or front bench roles, whatever, the skills he had. And he just had to bide his time.
Rinne sé an job mar ar a leanaí mar hampla, agus is cuiinlam nóir anam níoch é mar ar a sínsreach ag an am sin gur bhfuil mise de Bertie Ahern é choristeach an san post sin. Na ní lisig Brian sin mar bhí is a gom cé có dachar is a bhí sé mar bhí an post a gom, bhí anna chuid dlí a buint leis, bhí anna chuid costan ag dul os cór na cuairte, bhí is a gom go dicthug Brian é, agus go mbeadh sesin in ná an dul os cór na telefíse agus labhairt ar na faibanna bhí an rud a rinne sé gan éon aib ach an son nuair anam níoch mar ara sínsreach dlí agus curt. Bin an job as dóilms a hahan leis har ein job eile.
Becoming Minister for Justice really mattered to him for a number of reasons. Firstly, he'd waited a long time to become a minister. Secondly, it was to a department his father had previously served in. Law was his speciality. It was probably his happiest time in politics. He'd loved to stay there. His instincts were to stay there, but when the higher calling of the Department of Finance came, he had to take it.
Cílam uach le Sularógar Brian Cowen a rialtas nó dúirt duine cínslam tá hééis chluisteach bhfuil Brian Lenihan hééis bheith ceapaí mar ara airgeadais agus just níéitna chreid ní aine ag sú leis ní aon chúlra airgeadais na airgeadaíochta aige.
I remember sitting in my backbench seat and watching them coming down. And I said, he's finance, because it was Brian Cowen, Mary Cochran, who was clearly the Taoiseach, and then there was Brian Lenihan, so I knew it was finance. And even I gave a start, or had a start myself. But Brian could tackle anything that was put to him.
But bheith Brian Lenihan dal an scéil an chéad duine a tháinig amach a rá ag tackú le Brian Cowen mar cheanara nuair an Taoiseach Bertie Ahern agus gan doubt ní airn sin dochar gáil nuair bhí le postnaí á gála.
He told of the story of being called over by Brian Cowen to the Department of Finance, and in a manner akin to what Sean Lemass is reported to have said to Jack Lynch, Cowen said, "I want you to sit at this desk. I want my best minister next door."
Bhí an ceart ag Cowen dul sa tóir ar an taobh ábalta chun teachta górbacht ar hain mar ara airgeadais. Is éigean go tuiscint fáte ag Brian Lenihan ar na cuairmí bhí ribhe, nuair beléir go scála na tubaiste inachreacht ar tí dul thar muil.
Níéitach Brian Lenihan héart isteach sa busin ag gáim níos meas agus is Cain Lenihan óráid sin na thug sé ag CIF sélim nó ag dráma chéint agus slú sé gur sé de bhíá ar héart isteach sa busin nuair bhí building industry coming to a shuddering halt.
Brian Cowen and other ministers wanted to tackle the fiscal issues at a slower pace than Lenihan wanted to do. Once he recognised the scale of how big in particular the gap in the public finances was and was likely to be as the construction construction collapse kicked in, he wanted to move quicker.
You can't postpone the pain. It has to be done now.
Others, for political or other reasons, were trying to hold him back, and the reality is that events just took a pace that overtook all of them.
I mí meán fómhar 2008 leis an gghearchor credsmheasa idirnáisiúnta, bhí príomhhaincan na Éireann is sáin ramanta. Thocrar an rialtas go raibh beart tarthála a testáil chun na baince chláánú, ach tá san inis go raibh sé na Paul mór do bhigán de íocha.
An cinenne bhú a thóg sé ar nóí na scéim barantas na manc agus feicimid ar fad an drochháil atá ar an tír inis marall ar méid airige gafar a chuir isteach sna bain céin. Ach ag léamh tuarascáil agus tuairiscí éagsúla tá takeíach ina leisin. Is léir nach an tólas ar fad ag an rialtas ag an nám sin cheisná nar cheart an tólas sin a bheith acu ag an nám sin, ach sinna éireacht cínta scéim barantas na mancas méid a dasgra sin na billiúnas dis na buinc an TMF sa tír.
Bhí teannas ann tuisc stádas na míocht na tíre, ach ní idir na Harry nó ní idir éon ara agus an tara airgeadais. Bhí is going an obair a bhíle déanamh agus go háirithe tuisgur bis going an tuiscint a bhí ar agus na figúí bhí i gcónaí bhí marna ceappa bhfuil is cosú go raibh figúí aige agus ólas aige nach raibh na daoine eile. So bhí mar sásta just sort lecha le sin.
He had to do much of the explanations of that time. There was nobody else going to do it. And he talked plain when he was explaining. He didn't talk grand or he didn't talk jargon. He just spoke plain English.
The position is that we're all in this together and we have to pull together. Those who have most are required to pay most in this budget, but everyone has to give something.
He wanted to get the facts out.
Our plan is working. We have turned the corner. I commend the budget to the House.
Sin ceann na hagan sí is smú I gunne ré Brian Lenihan mar airigadish tása mar hampla go goróirte we've turned a corner. No buléir go cuasaí go nach cuasaí an ulcas in Éireann.
I mean, heads have started to roll, that's very clear. As far as reckless lending is concerned, this is a new beginning.
We have nothing to fear but fear itself. There's no reason to be worried about Tuesday. I think we've reasons to be optimistic.
Marialler chuid éireachtaí fad teachtracht an réaltas a chríomh scéile bhí beidir captainní gur namacha bolscoireachta siúl gur sé ró dhearfach na chuid cainte gur heasta níos mú straight talking gur heasta a rá le chuoine tá cuasaí chonáil níos meas a seachas rá we've turned the corner.
A chur láiste fan gábhíle saní, bhris nuach TV3 scéal a bhain preb ú fosachas daoine.
News has learned that the Finance Minister, Brian Lenihan, has been diagnosed with cancer.
TV3 understands that initial tests revealed that the Minister is suffering from a malignant tumour.
Bhí ganalach. Bhí ganalach amachas amach.
I thought that was awful. I never went on and on about it because I felt so diminished.
It's also shocking news for members of the public. Brian Lenihan is regarded as one of the most popular members of the government. The people had a soft spot for Brian Lenihan.
Ní raibh éon gá an scéal sin a chur amach Lála Stefan. Ní raibh éon gá an brú sin a chur Patricia, Claire agus Tom, a chlán. I'm sin an nolog. Ní raibh éon gád an tír an scéal sin a tlaistáil an lá sin.
Camera gorás go leor irisisiúí go háirid na córagraí políteacht de feimú an áléin. Go na ráflaí fad cloiste cup sin. Agus fórmhór cup chinne siad go háirid na agraí políteacht ag na pápéir agus go leor gon na stáisiún radio agus telefís. Chinne siad nach níana dís táda faoin na ráflaí seo nó go bhógrach Brian Lenihan héin on scale.
Now, TV3 knew about this on Christmas Eve, but we held back announcing it out of respect and consideration for the Minister, for his family, and for the fact that it is Christmas time.
Well,
my overwhelming impression of that Christmas was how awful it was.
Darnú gearán faoin dúris nuachta seo ach riile údarás críilcha na héireann I bhábhar TV3 a tíbhú lena gine ag óthreachta an scéal a chríile.
Brian Lenihan was privately furious that his illness was revealed in the manner it was revealed. He felt trapped by the fact that it was put out publicly on Stevens's Day, and he knew Christmas Eve that it was planned to be put out on Stevens's Day. It's one of the few occasions when you could sense that he was genuinely, personally distressed. Not so much about the illness, but he was reconciled to that.
She did want Christmas to be precious, and it wasn't.
Lánig na doctóí an scéal go léir dó 50-50 chance bhí ann dó. Bhí sé gana búr ar fad mar níor ceap sé go raibh sé chutáin le sin.
Arriving back at work after the Christmas break, Finance Minister Brian Lenihan was the focus of media attention after confirming that he has been diagnosed with cancer, but insisting that he'll stay on in his job as he deals with it.
Well, after the budget, I got a setback. I had a stomach pain and I had the test done in the Mater Hospital here in Dublin. And it was established that there was a blockage at the entrance to my pancreas. The blockage has been removed, a stent has been inserted there, but the material that was causing the blockage was cancerous tissue, so it has to be dealt with.
He wasn't going to get into a battle about fighting about or giving out about how the news was broken, because he always kept saying, I need to focus on the positive. He needed to conserve his energy, his mental energy, his emotional energy for the dual fights that were the private battle he was having with the illness and the public battle he was having trying to, in a sense, maintain the national solvency and sovereignty.
The important point is there's no incapacity intellectually or mentally, and I'm certainly up to the challenge of doing my job as well as confronting this very serious problem.
He gave some thought for a few hours, I think, to giving up politics and giving up as Minister for Finance when the diagnosis first came. But, you know, politics was in his blood. He was relishing the challenge that went with the job. He had this sense of duty. And nobody could advise him that giving up the job and sitting resting at home was going to be better for his health, because in many ways, I think in hindsight, many of us closest to him believe that it's the work that kept him alive so long.
If there's any question of a deterioration in the course of my treatment, or if the medical advice is that I'm not up to do the job, then naturally the country comes first here and I'll make whatever decision is required.
Sometimes it affected him deeply, but they put in a couch in his office and he was able to lie on that couch. But he would work from 7 a.m. in the morning till 11 and 12 at night. He just worked. At that time, he had 24 pieces of legislation he brought in.
Bhíonn Chomer Brian gur sé corpachuinach foláin. Bhí sé dearfach go poibli faoin na chláinte agus faoi stadach námíocht in na tíre. Ach, is a dul an olcas a bhíodar a réim.
She felt politically and personally isolated, particularly when it came around the big decisions. He was the man who was signing, as it were, on the dotted line, or giving away, at least temporarily, of Ireland's sovereignty. And that weighed on him. He always suspected, I think, that at least by the spring of 2011, Ireland would have to go to the IMF in some shape or form. He thought he had managed to push that back a bit, but it all just came very quick then in the autumn of 2010.
Bhí sé an dachar orin go léir mar rialtas, so bheadh sin níos dachar mar airgeadis. Bhí is aige go raibh an IMF teachtasteach faoin am sin. Bhí is aige nach raibh séise mar airgeadis nuair a tháinig na Harlan na Faibanna. Ní raibh séise mar Taoiseach nuair a cathal can tarigad. So bhí séise na ná an teachtasteach mar sort an bóchal nua go dtí an job. Agus an aib a réiteach. Agus cé raibh sé dachar, bhí sé buin tanamhas.
He was handed a hospital pass. He was given the task of sorting it out. And he did, once he saw that scale, he said, party doesn't matter now. Constituency will look after itself. It's the national interest now. He got to a stage where he said, I'm going to do whatever I regard to be in the national interest, irrespective of political or personal considerations.
There is every reason to be confident about the future of this economy and this country. If only we have confidence and belief and faith in ourselves. I commend this budget to the House.
Agus ceannasach námíocht na héireann tucaí waige, ba feasach de Brian má callan ng lóthar dómh siúda chu ribh mar airgeadis nos Michael Collins. I mí lúna sa 2010 bhí sé go onóraigh Brian óráid bhéal na bláthúirt, an chéad fulat sa riamh ó na fáil. Ó cad starúil. Saul chóra go neistir síl a bhí ar siú like Brian Hain, ag tar chéimnú pártaithe.
I went to it. It was just the most wonderful scene that he was invited by the inner core, if you like, of a real Fine Gael area. But Brian was never vicious. He was always had the kind of wider view of politics and of what can be achieved through politics. So to achieve the honour of the Bail Law Committee to invite him down was, in his mind, it was a great memory to have. I can see him on the cliff and he spoke. He was in the height of his prowess. He looked good. He spoke great, and we forgot for that afternoon that he was living under a fatal health diagnosis.
Given the scale of the challenges I've had to meet, I was heartened by having to read about the scale of the challenges which he had to meet in his time and generation. In meeting challenges, in seizing opportunities, the Irish people have always shown courage, determination and creativity, just as Michael Collins and his comrades and colleagues did in the campaign for independence and the establishment of our state.
The people willed him to live. They pressed in on him and pressed in on him, and you could see, I talked to so many, and they said, no, he looks too good. He's not going to die. He looks too good.
Le stádach námíochta na tíre ag fáil níos dúirce, agus péin muí na bhí Cowen agus an réaltas in níos le brí, bhí ráflaí gur Lenihan ag santú ceannaireachtaí in na fáil, ach níor thug sé faoi. Lean Cowen mar híiseach go dtí an Eibhlíon, ach bhí rás rite. An uair seo, chuaigh Lenihan snomíocht de cheannaireacht an 40.
Many of you see me as the strongest challenger to Micheál Martin, and the longer this debate goes on, the more confident I am that I will win it. I have some advice.
Is tócha ó bheith géisteach le Brian an sin, bhí isaige nach méach sé an go fád thearmach. Mar má éachan tú na focail le dúirt sé, má éisian tú de cad a bhí le ráge. Bhí sé na rá gur bháil leis bheith mar cheannaire íana fáil i dul isteach in san Toghcháin. Mar bhí isaige gur raibh feibe going go maiile lia agus tar nó i bhí. Ní dúirt sé gur bháil leis bheith mar híiseach a sin amach, ní dúirt sé gur bháil leis bheith mar cheannaire go fad thearmach, hiig sé nach méach sé timpeall. Agus bin an tain fá tócha nar éirid leis.
He ran in the general election because he didn't want to be one of those who was walking off the pitch. He was, of all of the senior politicians in Fianna Fáil, I think, most realistic about the party's prospect. He saw the political crash coming long before many of the rest of them did. So he knew that Fianna Fáil was on a hiding to nothing heading into that election.
Bhí an dí mórmsa nar tábhacht mé héin, but bhí áthas orm gur tábhacht é, agus tuis nach raibhach síocháin amháin san catharta áthas orm gur éisian na bhuaige, mar dé bhhailm go dúchach deire a chud saoil nó chud saoil polítíochta le síocháin a chailúint.
We've seen in this election huge damage inflicted on Fianna Fáil as a party, but we have to take our place on the opposition benches, provide responsible opposition and rebuild our party.
I think everybody who knew him well will tell you that there was a time around the last few weeks where he was fading away. I mean, fading away from contact. He got to a stage with Brian where I didn't ring him because you didn't want to be interrupting. And then a couple of phone calls with him in the weeks afterwards, the kind of phone call where you didn't ask him whether he was at home or in the matter, because in some ways it would have been sadder to hear he was at home.
We knew, well, to put it as bluntly as I can, we knew he was on the last lap of life. But I thought that lap could be stretched a bit. And you know, rural people, the way they say, oh, if we got a few days of sunshine, he'd be made up. And I thought maybe he'll get a few more months. It was still a huge shock. I mean, I got that call very early in the morning from his mother, Anne, and I knew. I just said immediately, Brian's dead. She said, yes, he is. And he was.
Tributes praising the courage and commitment of former Finance Minister Brian Lenihan have been paid following his death after an 18-month battle with cancer.
In the words of President McAleese, he lived a life of outstanding personal integrity and dedicated public service.
Smíní mé mar ghine raibh cordjas adring, cordjas either an carrer going, like Patricia Brian nach Maran, Éimeann nach Maran agus mé héin, agus a thug seans domsa mar ara mar bhíodh sé gcónaí ag smaoinemh cén tionachar a bheoh ag na cinní a rinnemer ormsa mar ara, ach smaoiní mar dlúchara agus mór an cailúinte.
Well, apart from being aunt and nephew, we had a very close working relationship. After all, I was part of Dáil Éireann with him for 16 years. I didn't get back my seat. I'm glad I'm not there now. I would miss him on the corridor. I'd miss his voice in the Dáil. He kept up a great outward presence right throughout that illness.
I think his death caught a moment in the country's distress. It was just a moment in the country's distress, economic and political distress, where people said, well, this guy had put up the good fight, and that irrespective of their political views or the economic hardship people were experiencing, they felt that he was on their side in that difficult fight. And it was a tragedy that he was gone so soon.
Bye.